Hello everybody. So for today's video we are talking about another case that involves a child. It's incredibly heartbreaking, so I'm just putting that out there. This is your trigger warning. But the case we're going to be talking about today is that of Hazana Anderson. And the last case was Callie Anderson. They are not related in any way, they just share a similar last name or the same last name. But they're not related. Just in case anybody was wondering, they are not related. But yes, that is who we're talking about today, is Hazana Anderson. All the links that I used for research will be down below, like always, and let's go ahead and get into this. So Hazana was born on January 18th, 2017. Her father is Tabadrik, and he chose her name because it reminded him of a special word of praise that he and other church people would say, especially on Palm Sunday and on Easter, which is Hosanna, Hosanna, in the highest. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, Hosanna. Her father says that she was such a happy little girl and that they had the best relationship. She loved playing outdoors, whether it was running in the yard or just enjoying playing in the leaves. She just wanted to be outside all the time amongst nature. She also loved her stuffed animals. And Hazana would be 7 years old today, if not for the tragedy that would happen to her. So this is going to be a paragraph that I'm reading directly from her obituary. Um, and it was just so sweet that I wanted to read it to you guys. And it says, imagine her joy at exploring the world around her. What adults can easily take for granted can be made magical when seen through the eyes of a child. Similarly, our days are filled with music. Each song we hear that's special to us. Our songs mean something to us. These songs complete our peace, resound with joy, and fill our hearts with hope. As melodies resonate with us, their lyrics often represent what we're feeling at the very moment. The life of a child is like that, and is like that of a beautiful song. In our lifetimes, we add the lyrics to the melody and complete our song before we return to heaven. For Hazana, who Tabadrik lost too soon, her lifetime produced a beautiful yet unfinished song. We are sure Hazana is with her Heavenly Father, and she can run and play anywhere she wants. End quote. So Hazana, obviously a precious little girl, was taken much too soon. And you're probably now thinking, well, what happened to her? Let's go ahead and get into that story. Hazana was reported missing by her mother, Tiandra Kristen, in October 2018 in College Station, Texas. Tiandra claimed that she and Hazana were out at Gabbard Park around 8 a.m. that Sunday. Tiandra said that she went back to her vehicle to get a bottle, and when she returned, Hazana was missing from her stroller. Officers arrived at the scene and they searched nearby roadways and homes. Her disappearance created a massive search. More than 160 people in College Station joined, and so did the Texas Rangers. Investigators later found a black bag with clothes and another object inside a dumpster near the park. When questioned, Tiandra confirmed that the clothes were what her daughter was wearing that morning, but knew nothing of the object. But police would find evidence that she handled the bag and object, and they became suspicious. So, what exactly is this object that I am being kind of vague about? Well, it was a life-size doll dressed in Hazana's missing clothes. Yeah. Investigators said Tiandra pretended the doll was her daughter. Tiandra was arrested and charged with child endangerment for allegedly leaving her child alone near a pond and giving a false report to the police. After her arrest, Tiandra would finally explain what happened. So the story goes is that Tiandra and Hazana met with Tiandra's boyfriend, Kenny Hewitt, in a Houston hotel room, and Kenny abused her. She said Hazana left with Kenny to get food, and when they came back, she was crying and Hewitt began beating her with a belt. He allegedly told Tiandra to beat her daughter with the belt, but said she wasn't doing it hard enough, so he took over again. She said Hazana was going in and out of consciousness, so she and Kinney put her in the tub to revive her. When she removed her from the tub, she noted that there were signs of sexual assault on her child, and Hazana died later that night. First of all, why are you with a man that thinks he can just abuse your child, beat her for whatever reason? If you're not her father, you are not laying a hand on my child. And even if you are my husband, you are not beating my child. I'm also not beating my child. And for what reason? Because she's crying? That man is a piece of actual shit, and so is Tiandra for even allowing it to happen. Because it said that she wasn't hitting her hard enough, so she was complicit in beating this little girl to the point where she was going in and out of consciousness in so much pain. I hope they both rot in hell. But let's continue. I don't even want to get started on the sexual assault part. I can't even think about that because I will start sobbing. I can't. So let's just continue. She told the cops that Hazana was cold to the touch, so she and Kenny tried to use a hairdryer to warm her up, and while doing so, the hairdryer began burning the child's skin. So, if your child is cold to the touch, I'm not sure how long it takes for the body to go cold once someone passes away, but I feel like if someone is cold to the touch, they must have been dead for a while. So, how long was she in that hotel room dead with them just not doing anything? And then trying to warm her up. She is cold to the touch. She's obviously dead. Instead of calling for help, you try to warm her up with a hairdryer. You're burning your child. Honestly, it just sounds like another form of torture. They wanted to continue abusing this child, is what it sounds like to me. She said that she kept the body in the backseat of her car for 3 days inside a plastic trash bag, and on October 23rd, she and Kinney wrapped the bag with the body inside with rope, and they tied a heavy rock to it. They tossed the body into a body of water near Moses Bayou and Texas 146 in Galveston County. Police divers did discover Hazana's body. Tiandra and Kenny were both arrested and charged with a count of tampering with a human corpse, but no murder charges. Galveston County DA says that they decided against going for murder charges because of the findings in the autopsy. And according to the medical examiner's office, it says that Hazana was found in trash bags tied with 2 concrete blocks. Her body was slightly decomposed from being in the water. There was evidence of contusions to her head, back, and abdomen and chest. Still, according to the report, there was not enough evidence to determine the cause of death. So, Shantae Motley, criminal justice and forensics expert at Prairie View A&M University, says that an autopsy leading to this kind of cause of death is rare. And this is a direct quote from Shantae. They say, it could be that there was not enough evidence to clearly suggest evidence of a crime committed, or that no one manner of death was more compelling. Knowing the manner of death can help you with charges. Autopsies help tell a story to give you a story of what happened. If you have an autopsy that's undetermined, you can't really use that as evidence, end quote. Which, yeah, it makes sense. If you tried to go after murder charges, I feel like there is a very good chance that they would walk away. Because if you're a jury, you're told to take what you hear as evidence, what they're presenting with you, and if they're saying that there's no actual evidence in the autopsy that a murder happened, you can't really say that a murder happened no matter how obvious it is. No matter how much you want to say, obviously they killed her, they could get charged with it in that moment, and then later they could appeal and just it be completely reversed. So it would just make sense that they wouldn't do it, but it is very infuriating that they even had to do that anyway. That this woman and her piece of shit boyfriend decided to take this little girl's life, throw her in the water, and they basically get to walk away from it and not having a murder charge. it's upsetting. It's greatly upsetting. But Tiandra and Kenny were both charged with tampering with a human corpse, and they were sentenced to a maximum of 20 years in jail with a $10,000 fine. Tiandra is eligible for parole after 5 years. I couldn't find anything on Kenny, and there's no updates on, parole coming up or anything like that. So I have no idea. But if I see any updates, obviously I will update you guys. But for now, that is all I have on the case of Hazana Anderson. This case is heartbreaking, honestly. This little girl was crying. I can't imagine what he was doing to her for her to even be crying. Going back to her seeing signs of sexual assault on her daughter, was he doing something to her and she was like, no, you can't do that? That's something I don't even want to think about. It's horrible. And honestly, I feel like these two motherfuckers, I know you guys don't like it when I cuss, but I'm sorry, in this case, they deserve it. These two motherfuckers, they deserve a lot longer than 20 years. Tiandra does not deserve to be eligible for parole after 5 years. She murdered her fucking child. She was eligible and trying to covering it up. This is just not, it's not justice in my opinion. It will never be justice. I understand they can't seek a murder charge for the reason that I read off to you, but it makes me sick to my stomach knowing that they could be free very soon and their daughter will never have her life. It's just horrific to me. But with that being said, guys, that is all I have for you on this video. Please let me know your thoughts down below. And thank you so much for listening to Hazana's story. If her family sees this, I just want to say that I am so sorry to Topodrick. Your daughter is adorable. She sounded like a wonderful little girl, and I am so sorry that this happened to her. She should be living a full life right now, and I'm sorry that true justice wasn't actually served to you. But I hope that eventually you and your loved ones can find peace, and hopefully Hazana is also finding peace now. Thank you guys so much for listening to the story, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.